Mic is up and we are on. I'm going to make this a fairly short update, but I did feel like it was important for me to come on here this evening. A lot of folks enjoying their weekend, as you should. Hopefully you're doing it, and you're doing it safely, and you're also staying warm. A lot of cold air invading the United States here as we speak, and that's going to be a central part of our talking points here during this live update, talking about the cold, but also talking about wintry weather. We've heard rumors of a displacement of the polar vortex. I can verify it's occurring, and I can also verify right now that I think we're about to experience some of the coldest, nastiest winter weather that we have in years. And this will be occurring here over the next couple of weeks to come, if not longer. Let's just say that the signs are coming in for the remainder of the month of February. Doesn't look good. Dare I say the Ground Hog was right. He's going to be right. Winter is just now arriving, and it's going to be a while before we see any signs of spring. And in fact, I think we're talking about some of the coldest conditions that we have seen in years across much of the central eastern United States. Already parts of the continental U.S. falling below zero, and this Arctic air mass, thanks to the polar vortex, will continue to spread east in time. I just put this out on YouTube, obviously. You're watching it there now, but I also put out a reminder on our friends over on Twitter. And let me get one final reminder out for our friends over on my Facebook page, which Facebook, by the way, continues to mess with me. They made me change the format of my page. Like, I had no choice in the matter. Now I'm navigating and I don't know where things are. I'm a creature of habit. You know, I just need things to work, and I need, so I need to remember how they worked. But they're messing with me. With that being said, we're going to jump right on into the details. It is about 5:45. I'm going to keep this under 15 minutes. So give me a moment while I get out the information onto my Facebook channel. Let them know that we're on here live. Not that Facebook ever really does much for your YouTube content. Have you guys tried sharing on Facebook before your YouTube content? It just ignores it. It almost acts like never mind. It just doesn't. It doesn't do much. But with that being said, for those that do look for weather content on my Facebook page, I feel compelled that I have to get this out. So let me do that now. and we are about to rock and roll here on this Saturday. Parts of the region, I say region, underneath winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings. Right now, this is the first of a series of storms. I've blogged about it. I haven't posted it. But the blog is up. You know where to find me, capitalweather.com. All right, let's dive on in. First of all, who do we have in the program? We've got John Joseph Colasacco. Hey, buddy. I've got Z Bull. Did you watch Cinderella Man today? It's an awesome movie. So good. Helen Kuntz on here. Dude and Brett, thank you for being on. All right, with that being said, you're taking a live look at the watches, warnings, advisories. It's actually just advisories and warnings. Winter advisories are in effect across the upper Midwest, I should say, downwind of Lake Superior, also Lake Michigan, and then parts of eastern Kentucky, the Appalachians. Those are warnings in pink. And I want to investigate those a little closer here on our radar setup, so let's go to that now. And the system that we're looking at now, the first in a series. This is the beginning of a wholesale pattern change. So there's a look at the setup. We've got some active spring weather, spring-like weather. That's a tornado watch in effect for parts of the northern Florida peninsula. I don't see any active warnings there. It's just rain for the southeast. And then we're seeing the snow beginning to develop across portions of the Midwest, from Chicago to Springfield, Missouri. All this in association with a low that's really going to develop quickly. But there's two pieces of this low. There's the northern branch, and then there's also a southern branch. Southern branch is the one that's going to have more moisture associated with it, and that's the reason they've issued these winter storm warnings in effect all the way down to the northern Georgia, southern parts of the Appalachians, up the Appalachian Trail. You got winter storm warnings in effect from Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Cherokee, North Carolina, into the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia, parts of West Virginia. Also, this will be affecting Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, Providence, Rhode Island, and Boston. So that whole area there underneath winter storm warnings, looking at a minimum of about 6 inches of snow for most of those areas. Some areas could go well over a foot. So that's what's happening as far as precipitation. The other story is going to be the temperature. So let me turn on my temperatures. I want you to take a look at these current conditions. These are current temperatures, and we'll get off the radar clutter here. Radar will get more interesting in time. But right now, I just want to focus on what these temperatures are doing. While we are looking at temperatures, not too bad. Western New York, 20s. It's okay. What is it in Rochester? 23, 24. It's cold. It's winter. It should be cold. It gets real cold, though, across portions of the plains where we've got single digits for Nebraska and Iowa, South Dakota, but then we fall below zero. Minneapolis adds 0. And then you fall below 0. Duluth, 8 below. Look at that. What is that town? I don't even know what that is. 15 below. Northern Minnesota. And then you go north of the border, and we've got air that is 20 below, 30 below, 40 below. And this is into the Arctic of Canada. It's actually not too untypical. This part of the Arctic, this time of the year, climatologically, pretty much the coldest part of the year. That's okay. That's kind of not out of the ordinary. But what you all don't realize is that whole air mass is going to slide into the U.S. over the next week to 2 weeks to come. And that is where the problem is. Because we haven't seen cold like that invade the United States in a while. But it's coming. It is coming. All right, let's take a look. I've got an image prepared. I don't even know what I have prepared for you. Oh, okay, right, this image here. And I kind of want to telestrate, so give me a second while I'm able to telestrate on here. Let me move the image, and I've got to telestrate. Again, I'm going to keep this short, maybe 10 minutes. But I did feel like it was important to have a presence this weekend. I don't want people going into this week blind. They need to know what's happening, right? We all need to know. knowledge is power. What does G.I. Joe say? Knowing is half the battle. That's what he says. I just dated myself. Anybody else a fan of G.I. Joe? Okay, so this pattern that you're looking at, I'm going to need to add myself a telestrator here. But this is important. You're looking at the entire northern hemisphere. And why is that important? Most of the year it's not important. Because what happens here locally has nothing to do with what's happening on the other side of the globe most of the year. That's not the case this time of the year. Once you get into the heart of winter and jet stream winds are fortified and these pressure lobes, they're all connected. And so what I wanted to point out was a trilogy of high pressure systems. Okay? I don't know why that's blue. I want it to be black. Let's go black. All right. So you've got one high pressure lobe out here. This is Eastern Pacific, Bay of Alaska, into the Arctic. And then you come over here into the Western Atlantic. There's another high. And then there's one that's actually over the Arctic. Okay, this is a very strange setup. But because of the presence of these highs, that thing that is trapped below them and in the middle of them, in between, is anomalous area of low pressure aloft. These are actually technically height anomalies, but they do correspond to pressure. That you've got this low pressure that for most of the winter it's been out west, but now it's trapped between a west coast high, east coast high, and an Arctic high. And what this is going to create is a gigantic blocking system that is going to force cold air into the continental United States. Now, when I say cold, I don't want to underplay that, because this is going to be frigid air. And with the frigid air, that reminds me of the appliance, frigid air. No, frigid air, Arctic air mass. We're also going to see several storms. When I say several, and I posted this earlier, and I'm going to show you in just a second, we're talking about half dozen storms the next week and a half. So this is the European model. Jet stream winds. This feature right there, that's the polar vortex. At least a very large lobe of the polar vortex comes all the way down to the U.S.-Canadian border, and it's not moving. It sits there and it spins like a top, because you got high pressure north, you got high pressure east, you got high pressure west. That leaves one place for this thing to reside. Right in the middle of the continent. Way far south from where it typically would be this time of the year. And even typically when it pays a visit, it'll come down and dip and then lift back north. Not this time. It's descending south now, as evident of the sub-zero temperatures across the northern plains, and it's going to set up shop. It's going to set up permanent residence there. And we're going to be watching this for quite a while. All right, so I think that's interesting. I think you guys should think that's interesting as well. I'm suddenly confused by what I'm looking at here. Oh, I see what I did. I think my template moved on me. Sorry. And we're going to jump back into... Whoa, where'd you go? I'm suddenly trying to remember how to I've got to get off this image. I'm tripping myself out. Give me a second. Let's go back over here to the warnings. Yeah, that's better. Okay, yeah, I lifted north. Okay, so when I was going from I pushed the whole thing north. Sorry. Give me a second. I'll get this fixed. And then we can move forward in time. But it's very important because the entire pattern that we're going to see developing here, I mean, it's developing now. The entire pattern that's going to set in is going to be contingent upon the placement of the polar vortex, which we are not very skilled as meteorologists at looking too far out when it comes to exact snow tracks. You guys know this. You make fun of the meteorologist all the time. right? Your typical joke, the meteorologist, right, says what? Oh, he said we're going to get this many inches of snow last night. We didn't. We didn't get anything at all. I'm going to quickly go back, and I'm going to adjust this, by the way. I'm going to go back over, and then we're going to move forward talking about just how cold it's going to get and when to expect temperatures in the continental United States to reach 30 or even 40 degrees below zero. Guys, I'm not making this up. This is happening. We have not experienced winter weather like this in a long time. But rest assured, it's coming. The Ground Hog called it. I hate to give him credit, but he did. He said 6 more weeks of winter. Yeah, and we're gonna see so much winter weather in the next few weeks. This is a pattern I have not seen. I don't know if I've ever seen this setup. The last time I've seen anything like this, you have to go back to the winters of 2013-14, and then again it repeated itself 2014-15. And if you remember those winters, extremely cold, extremely snowy for much of the eastern United States. While we have avoided that until now, it's become very obvious based on what I'm seeing in the data that a lot of us are going to be caught with our pants down. Not because there's not enough meteorologists talking about this, but because we are not used to it. It's like we really don't, I don't think we're going to be prepared for this type of cold. I was looking back at the records. It's been at least 2 years since I think we've even been below zero in Rochester, New York. And again, we're forecasting for all of the U.S. right now. But parts of the U.S. are already below zero. Parts of the U.S. is going to go way below zero. Take a look at this forecast by the Climate Prediction Center. This is their 6 to 10 day range. What's of note is that during their 6 to 10 day range, they have everybody below average with the exception of far south Florida. That's a rarity. Not only that, but right here in the central U.S., that's a 90+%. They might as well make that 100% because there's no way this is not going to verify in 6 to 10 days that the air temperatures across the heart of America are going to be so frigid. So that's their 6 to 10 day. It's very unusual to see them broad blanket the entire United States with one of those high probabilities of below normal temperatures, but they have. And I think it goes to show you the rarity of what we're looking at. And then once you get beyond that, this is the 8 to 14 day. Oh my. It doesn't improve. That cold air is going to get trapped across the eastern United States, and it's going to stay. I think the rest of February, if not beyond. You notice on your 8 to 14, the only area of at or above normal temperatures, far west coast, central California. So there's a lot of cold on the way. What about storm tracks? Okay, so I put up this, I tweeted it out earlier. Didn't get a lot of attention. I kind of wanted to just slide that out there. And this is what I slid out in front of my Twitter audience. Okay. It's a bunch of models, right? No. This is not a bunch of models. This is one model. This is the European forecast model, which I could put up one of the GFS. I could put up one of the Canadian, and they're going to say the same story. That over the next week and a half, we've got about 5 organized systems that will pay a visit to parts of the central U.S. and the East Coast. And it's going to be one system after another. First one starts tomorrow. That's where the current winter weather advisories and the winter storm warnings are posted for. First one's tomorrow. That's going to hit the cities. They're going to see quite a bit of snow. Second one coming in on Tuesday. This one's going to be more for our western New York, central upstate New York. Could see several inches. That'll be followed by lake effect. All of this will be accompanied by lake effect. And then we really need to watch out for Friday the 12th. Potential significant storm. All modes of precipitation, maybe for the mid-Atlantic Appalachians. I think it's going to be all snow for Rochester, much of New York State. We've got some time. And then beyond that, you got another one around the 14th, Saturday the 14th, a week from today. And then another one, maybe another behemoth storm around the 16th. Again, this is as far as our medium range models will look. And it's just one after another. With the core of that cold positioned just to our west, going to slowly make inroads as it moves off to the east. I said I'd keep this short, 15 minutes, and I'm still going kind of strong. If you guys don't mind, a quick thumbs up. Hopefully you're getting something out of this update. And also, I'd love for you guys to be notified when I come on. So make sure that you're hitting your notification bell and share. Please share, because I think we provide a valuable service. I hope you guys are learning about weather, and I'm telling you stuff that you're not going to get in that 2 or 3 minute weathercast that you might get from your local meteorologist on TV. That's the goal here. So keep the likes and shares coming. Okay, so next I'm going to show you specific models, and then we're going to finish off with just how cold I think it's going to get across the eastern United States. Again, polar vortex, all of the wording. You're going to see it all over your headlines. Polar vortex, Arctic blast, duration cold, and yes, I think we're looking at crippling winter storms in the weeks ahead. With that, again, storm number 1 just now beginning to develop. We've got at least 5 storms in the next week and a half. So let me put this map into motion for you. So I've taken basically 5 snapshots to show you 5 storms in the next 10 days ahead. So now we'll put this in motion for you. And wait for it for just a moment. Got to make sure I've got the right image for you. Here it is. All right, watch this. There's storm 1, major storm for the East Coast. Storm 2, I think this one could be a sneaker, could drop several inches across central, western, or eastern New York. Storm 3, next Friday, could be a big snowmaker for many of us, and also could produce freezing rain. Storm 4 right on its heels, and then there's Storm 5. Man, it's just one after another. It's going to be so busy, and I'm not going to take the time to talk about individual snowfall amounts during this broadcast. What I will do is I will show you what the models are saying about the current storm. I'm not going to go beyond that. Again, snowfall prediction is so intricate. It makes it extremely difficult to narrow down a particular storm outside of a couple of days ahead. So we're not even going to try to do that. But what we will try is we're going to take a look at snowfall projection out of the current storm, and we'll leave it at that. All right, so here you go. I'm going to go with Euro snowfall, and you guys can watch this live. And then we're going to finish up on the cold, when to expect temperatures well below zero, and what parts of the United States could see record-shattering low temperatures, 30 to even 40 degrees below zero. That's not a wind chill. Those are actual air temperatures that are on the way. 30 to even 40 degrees below zero. It's going to be unbelievable. All right, let's pop this on here. I'm waiting. Is it going to go? Okay, there it is. All right, so you're looking at European snowfall projections. This is for tonight. You see the snow coming out of the Midwest, the plains. Chicago gets a couple inches of snow, not a big deal. But look at some of the snow totals across central Tennessee. And then into the Appalachians. Central Tennessee, not even far away from Nashville, could see significant snow tonight. Take a look. And I believe they've got this all covered up with winter weather advisories. But then into the Appalachians it goes. And this is, again, the current run of the European model. This is the deterministic. It doesn't show a crippling snow, but it shows quite a bit of snow. Let me take a look at one more model. This is the GFS. Current GFS coming in now. Snowfall tonight, tomorrow. Okay. Actually, I don't even know if that's winter storm warnings for D.C., Baltimore, New York City. That's interesting. Both of the major models, a little less with the snow there. Anyway, that's the current system. If I run the Euro or the GFS all the way out, you're going to see all types of numbers. This is the next 2 weeks. If you can believe it, parts of the U.S. will see 20, 30, 40, 50, 50 inches of snow. That's right there. What is that? Snowshoe, West Virginia? Right here. And again, I'm doing this kind of just, it's not tongue-in-cheek. It's just that you can't predict where these snowfall amounts will occur. But the fact that the models have 40-plus inch snowfall amounts over the next 2 weeks is actually quite remarkable anywhere. But that's what it's showing. Okay, so what about the cold? Let's talk a little bit about the cold weather that's on the way. We talked about the Storm Prediction Center. We talked about the displacement of the polar vortex, right? Polar vortex should be up there in northern Canada, Greenland, something like that. But instead, you have a wedge of high pressure over Greenland, Canada. Take a look at this. All right, wait for this right here is a high pressure system. It's up. Let me do that again. That's high. That's high pressure. There's a lobe of the polar vortex so far south and for such a long period of time that it's just going to set the stage for so much cold. Here's your Climate Prediction Center. No, I moved past that. So let's do this. We'll finish on European temperatures, forecast temperatures. And here you go. So Climate Prediction Center is going way below average. Here's the two time periods, 6 to 10 day and 8 to 14. 6 to 10 day on the left, 8 to 14 day on the right. And they agree. This is the climate. These are people our taxpayer dollars go to these people. They typically do a very good job of the way. But the Climate Prediction Center says the entire United States is going to be frigid in the next 2 weeks. How frigid is it going to be? Let's talk about what the temperatures are now. This is within the last hour. Okay, you looking at this? Temperatures across the upper Midwest are below zero right now. Throughout the state of Minnesota, you're below zero to the tune of even 10, 15 degrees below zero. Northern half of Minnesota. Northern half of North Dakota. These are temperatures now. That's cold. I don't care what time of the year it is. That, my friends, is cold. Now let's talk about what may be invading the U.S. And I wouldn't be showing you this if I didn't have a pretty high degree of confidence that this is actually going to verify. But we're going to fast forward 10 days from now. Take a look at this. 9 days from now. These are morning temperatures on the morning of February the 15th. And I, as I mentioned, snowfall can be very difficult to predict even a couple days in advance. But when you're talking about the movement, the tracking of an Arctic air mass, something that is massive in scale, our weather models actually do a very good job, even a week plus in advance. And that's what we're looking at here. So you're talking about temperatures at or below freezing. This is 9 days from now. 9 days from now. Temperatures of freezing all the way down close to the Gulf Coast. All right, that's not that unusual. You're talking about lows in the teens for Tennessee, Arkansas. Single digits across the lower Ohio River Valley. Okay. But look at how many people are below zero here. Anywhere north of that line is essentially below zero. Almost all of the Northeast, with the exception maybe right along and just south of Lake Ontario, maybe Cleveland will hang out at around zero. Maybe. But look at the mess. 10, 15, 20 degrees below zero. Northeast, Quebec, Ontario. And then look at the upper Midwest. And again, I think that if anything, these may be conservative numbers, but that is 20, that is 30, that is 35 degrees below zero. I fully expect parts of the northern plains in the upper Midwest could be looking at 40 degrees below zero or colder. We're talking about some record-shattering cold on the way. All right, with that being said, we've got Joanne Fahey, one of our top supporters on our Patreon account, and we appreciate her as always. If you guys haven't already joined us on Patreon, come on over. We'd love to have you. And that's, we don't know what the future will be for us on any of the major tech platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, because I do more than weather, and because I have opinions when it comes to politics that are conservative nature. I don't know what my future is. They keep getting rid of a lot of conservative influencers, but one way you can make sure that you stay in touch and to support our endeavors, come on over to patreon.com/WxLIVE. We'd love to have you. Also on our website, let me plug this real quick. It's capelweather.com. I've got a fresh blog that's out. I haven't posted it yet. It's out, though. Go to capelweather.com. and you'll see the latest blog, and I'll blast that out this evening. A lot of the material that you saw here during this live video was put into Word form with plenty of images as well. So go check that out. So great to see you guys on here. I appreciate Awesome Opossum on here. Says, tell Damon hello from Missouri. Wait. Is that you talking about my cousin? I got a cousin, Damon in Missouri. Is he on here? Come on, man. Give me a call. You should call me. Dude on here, Zeebull and Robin Kuhlman. And yes, of course, Robin, once that code gets here and before, we need to make preparations not just for our families, but we need to make preparations for those that are less fortunate. I'm glad you said something. Got to think about your pets. If you've got barn animals, man, we need to stack the hay high. Do whatever you need to do. When it comes to winterizing your home, your automobile, hopefully you've done that. You're going to need to do that soon. So there you have it. And that's where we stand on this Saturday, February 6th. I started the program, and it was daylight. And now it's dark, so it's time for me to wrap this up. Guys, I appreciate you all being here as always. If you don't mind a quick like and share of the program, as always, it is very much appreciated. And then if we don't talk sooner, I'll be on tomorrow night with my lovely bride of, it'll be, how many years this year? 19 years. That's tomorrow night. That's a Facebook typical program. Weather Live at 8:45. We cover weather, news, and politics. We'd love to have you guys. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful remainder of your weekend. You know what's coming. It's going to get cold. It's going to be snowy, and we'll talk more about that stuff once we get a little closer to it. In the meantime, stay safe, and we'll talk soon. I think we're going. See you again. Maybe. You guys have a great night.